Hello, hello again, everyone. I'm Marty Janeski, and along with my good friend Ken Montroy, who is on vacation for 2 weeks, so I'm flying solo today. I do have a special guest. His name's Tom Snyder. We'll get to him in 1 minute here. I'm going to cover some of the stuff that's happened over the week on Sports Wrap Up. First, there was a big golf tournament last Saturday, and the Wyandotte team finished third. Grosville won the tournament. It was the Marauder Invitational Golf Tournament. It was held Friday, actually, at Lake Erie Metro Park. They were mudding. It was wet as could be out there. For the day, Grosville shot 334 for their 4 players. Pretty good. They averaged the low 80s. And Wyandotte finished third. Allen Park was led the low score of the day, 75 by John Paul. He paced the field. He was the best scorer. Roosevelt's kid was third, Matteo Harnos. He shot 79. For the Wyandotte team, Elliot Bernacci shot 82. He was second with the Bears. Steve Dahl shot 88, and Hudson Hill shot 90. So good showing for the Wyandotte team. Grosville has won that tournament 3 years in a row, and they're strong over there on the island with their golf club memberships. Just saying. There was a track meet last week, and Roosevelt came away with the Division I Large School Championship Sunday at the 3rd Annual Metro Classic Track and Field Invitational. They had a total of 78 points, which put the team just ahead of second place Gibraltar Carlson. They had 75. For Roosevelt, Travis Pritt won the 110-meter hurdles, and he was second in the 300-meter hurdles. Pritt also was on the second place 4x400 relay team, together with Brett Malinowski, Damian Hogbrook, and Cecil Chapman. In the field events, the Bears' Emilio Placienta was third in the pole vault. Zachary Grant took fourth in the high jump, and finishing 4-5 in the shot put was the duo of Jesus Placencia and Thomas Kirby. So good showing for the Wyandotte track team also, as they won their tournament last weekend. So I'm very honored to have a special guest here today. His name is Tom Snyder, and he is a pickleball ambassador. Now, for those of you wondering, what is pickleball? Tom, what is pickleball?
Pickleball is a modified sport. They say it's a combination of table tennis, badminton, squash, and tennis. It's played on a court that's about 1/3 of the size of a tennis court, and similar rules to tennis with some modifications. The courts are a little bit different. So a tennis court is normally 78 feet long and 38 feet wide, where a pickleball court size is 20 feet wide by 42 feet long. It has a line about 7 feet from the net called a no volley zone, or also referred to as a kitchen line. You're not allowed to hit an airborne ball or a volley inside of that kitchen area. Your service is similar to tennis, except the service has to be underhand, not overhand. The games are played to 11, win by 2. It can be modified also based upon the number of people, because if you have a lot of people waiting on the sidelines, you modify the games to make them a little shorter so everybody can play. But it's something that is a very popular sport. It started in the Northwest, grew in the Northwest, became more and more popular where it had local tournaments up there.
Well, let's just stop right there
Okay.
for a second. How was it invented? Who came up with the idea that tennis courts are too big, we don't want to run that far, okay? We're going to figure out a game here. How did that all come about? Do you have any?
Back in the mid-'60s, a gentleman who was actually a U.S. representative living up in a place called Bainbridge, Washington, was coming home from a trip with his buddies. I believe he was at a golf tournament. He came home and saw, as we all have as parents, our kids are bored, they're looking for something to do. So he took the badminton court that he had painted on his property. He modified that by taking a badminton net and shrinking it down, because they wanted to play badminton, but they couldn't find the shuttlecocks to play badminton.
I had done some research. That's what I saw. They couldn't find the little shuttlecock.
Yeah, so then he took this net, he shrunk it down a bit, went to his wood shop area and made 4 paddles from his wood shop area, and at that point in time found a wiffle ball and created the game of pickleball that we know today. With what he did, it was something that was kind of an oddity, because again, when you invent a game in your driveway, it's got to be a little bit different.
And you know, it has to be, all of a sudden they start playing it all the time in their driveway.
Yes.
And all of a sudden the neighbors see it and say, "What are you doing here? What is this? What are you guys playing here?" And well, we invented this game called pickleball. Now, for it to nationally 30, 40 years later, 50 years later, it's gone pretty much national, or it's working its way there, I would say. Is there a governing body of pickleball?
It has gone nationally. So once the game expanded to the snowbird states, where those people moved to Arizona and Florida during the winter months, it became bigger and bigger. And once something gets big enough, you need to have something that monitors it, keeps it under control, modifies rules, makes sure that things are there. So there's an organization called the United States of America Pickleball Association, or USAPA, and that body governs rules. It governs the way tournaments are run. It governs it governs the expectations of players. It governs somebody like me who has been nominated to be an ambassador for the Downriver area for pickleball. It gives us guidelines of what their expectations are of us, what they expect us to teach, who is allowed to play, how we make sure we keep things moving. And this organization is something that has grown over the years. They've expanded their leadership roles. I know that since I've been getting more and more involved, they've added 2 more positions in that organization. So that part is growing also. I read something online that now supposedly there's at least 2.8 million people now playing pickleball.
Wow.
I know that over the years, CBS as well as NBC has ended their evening national news by having an article on pickleball. Again, more and more popular, and as the years go on, I believe it's going to be more and more popular. It's actually going into schools.
I was going to go there next. You think it becomes, well, let me start. You said something interesting about the 7-foot line. So you can't be on top of the net slamming balls.
Correct. So
you have to be 7 feet back.
Right. Now
that gives me, if you're slamming on the other side, gives me an opportunity to react.
Correct.
Otherwise, we're on top of the net, we're beating the ball on each other.
Correct.
So I like that idea, because looking down there, let's talk equipment. Looking down there at that ball, it might sting a little bit if you got drilled with it.
It can. There are 2 types of balls. I brought them out here. I don't know how visible they are or not. There are indoor balls and there are outdoor balls. An indoor ball, the holes are larger, and there are 26 holes on an indoor ball. And the idea is we want the aerodynamics of the larger holes to slow a ball down, because now we have an environment where there's no wind, there's no sun, there's nothing else. It's much easier without a ball that's moving around without being hit. So we want to be able to make sure that we slow down a bit and nobody gets hurt. We have outdoor balls that have 40 holes. They're a little heavier, so the wind doesn't take them as much, but it still does. But these are a little bit harder because they're played on more court-type surfaces, so we want to make sure that they last longer. So they're a harder and a heavier ball. And with
what do you get? What's the lifespan of a ball?
It depends on the manufacturer. I will tell you some of the popular balls that are played in Florida there's a company called Franklin that they're very popular down there. But as the weather gets colder, the balls break more. So it all depends your environment. If you're playing in cold weather, they're going to break more. Some of these balls I've had for over a year, but some don't last that long. It depends the environment you play and frankly how aggressive you are. In my opinion, I'm a person who tries to control the ball and have a little bit more placement. There are some folks that are hard hitters, and they refer to them as bangers, who just want to hit the heck out of the ball. That may not necessarily be the way to go. There's a short game that people refer to those folks as dinkers. So basically you're dinking a ball over net, you're using strategy, you're trying to use some lobs, you're trying to be smart about playing.
Dinking the ball, now that's that 7-foot rule come into play?
Now you can't hit the ball if it's volleyed or in the air, but you can go in there and hit a ball once it bounces.
Okay.
So the idea is to not allow your opponent to smash it at you. So if you hit it just over the net where they can't hit it in the air,
they're popping it back up to you.
And
if they get to it.
Yeah, and then that's when you get them.
Scoring, like similar to tennis, you said up to 11.
Right.
So
They say similar. They say the scoring is similar to something like volleyball. So you only score when you serve.
okay,
You have when you
that
play.
rule went out, but yes,
Okay.
yes, yes.
So right now, that depending if you're playing doubles, or you're playing singles. We'll talk about doubles. You have two people that serve, the first person, then the second person. Once you've not converted points on your serve, it goes over to the next team. And then you get points on the serve. First one to 11 wins. You go into tournament play, things are a little bit different, whether it's a round robin tournament, which means you play everybody
In your
twice
section.
and play with everybody once, or if you go into a tournament with a partner, it's usually a 2-game elimination type thing. And with those type things, sometimes you'll play 3 games, the first 2 to 11 and the last one to 15, just to make sure that they believe they get the proper person or proper team that won.
But as we play the games, we know anyone can win at
Absolutely.
any time. Obviously, you know, we go into it would be interesting to start out getting into the high school game. Tennis is obviously taking over. Tennis court, you're running your butt off. Smaller court, obviously 20 feet, you know, me and you stand next to each other, spread our arms out. We've almost got it covered.
Mm-hmm.
But there's got to be some good health benefits to this game.
There are. I will tell you that
Especially guys getting old like me.
Well, I'm afraid it's not just you. So basically, as far as when it comes to health, as far as athleticism, you want to play with somebody who is of your same athletic ability and same caliber, because you're more likely to get more of an exercise with that. Somebody who's a player who's been playing for years with a new person, even though a new person, this game is really good, a quick learning game where you can start learning quickly and get up to speed fairly quickly. It's kind of tough to do, but I will tell you that personally, I've had some health issues over the years. I was a workaholic. I gained way too much weight, and I've lost about 35 pounds in the last 2 years doing this. Again, a little bit of diet, but more exercise. The more we move, the more this is something that's going to promote this. This game can be played in singles, played in doubles. So a lot of times when I think I'm not getting enough exercise, I'll take somebody off to the side. We'll play some games of singles, and I will tell you that the court may not be as long, but a ball comes up back a heck of a lot quicker than what it does for tennis, and you're moving.
Right.
And it's something that again, the health benefits are there. It's going to get your heart rate moving. It's going to get everything moving. It's something that benefits not just the old, but it's also the young also, because now we're getting kids off the couch. Exactly.
Right.
So it's something we get the kids off the couch, get them moving. This is a game for not just, like I said, older adults, which is the stereotype. There are grandparents playing with grandkids. There are parents playing with their kids. You know, mothers and fathers playing with their young kids. We've got a lady who plays with a 9-year-old. She brings her 9-year-old son to play outdoors. Again, and when he first started when he was 8, he wasn't quite as good, but I will tell you he opened some eyes at 9 years old. And again, when he gets a little older, I'm sure he's going to go out for tennis, but right now he's moving.
The paddles on the end there, I see you
Yes.
have a few varieties.
I do.
Composite and wood, I'm guessing.
Well,
and with,
I didn't
with
bring
science the way it is, science and technology with the golf club, with the bowling ball. I'm imagining the science with the paddle there has gotten very
good.
Yeah.
So obviously the original paddle, I'll let you hold on to these.
Grab one.
All right. So that paddle right there is a graphite paddle. It should feel very light compared to the other two. And the reason that is so light, that is for somebody who wants more control. You won't be able to hit the ball quite as hard, but you'll have much more control. You have more quickness when it comes to getting to a ball that's hit at you very fast. Works very well for that. This one is a little heavier. This is an aluminum core. Okay. So basically when you're hitting this, it's almost like a trampoline effect. So the ball is going to go faster. It's going to
so you can do short little pops.
You can. And then, but also that aluminum core is going to get the ball through the wind. So if you're playing against the wind, you want to hit the ball, be able to hit the ball harder in order to get it to the back line. The deeper you keep that other team, the better chance you are to win, because if they're not at the net whacking the ball at you, you've got more time to react in order to win that point. This paddle is in between. This is the one that I actually use. This is also a graphite paddle. It's got if you feel the face on it, it's a little bit rougher face, which allows me to put spin on a ball.
English.
Yes. So I played tennis when I was younger. So having a cut shot is something that is very good in pickleball.
I'm a ping pong connoisseur. Trust me.
Same
my
type
little
of thing.
brother played, and as we got older, we had battles. Okay, we had battles because we were slapping the ball at each other. So this would be a fun game for me to take up.
Yes, yes, it would. So that face will help grab the ball for whether it's top spin, side spin, a cut spin, but it's also durable enough and thick enough where I can get a ball through the wind, and that's kind of a modify between the two, which is something that I appreciate.
We don't have a wind gauge out there, but I mean, I got to imagine once you get to 10, 15 miles an hour, that's really going to affect the game. So you're constantly switching sides, I would guess.
Correct.
But yeah, you barely tap it, and the wind's going to blow this ball. Yeah, because they are just wiffle balls, similar to wiffle balls. So anyone can play, males, females, mixed doubles, regular doubles. Now I get really good at the game. Now what happens? I'm in a league. I'm playing every week. I'm slapping everybody around. You know, Marty's with the pickleball in his district. What happens to me? If I go play somewhere, do I have like a handicap like I would in golf?
Not a handicap, but as you get better, you'll start your places of play are going to expand. Right now, downriver, we only have a few places to play, so that's why I was really excited to find out when the city of Wyandotte had put those courts in.
In FOP, by the way.
Sorry, I should have mentioned that.
No, we'll get to that, but they are at FOP.
Yes. So there are two dedicated pickleball courts at FOP. We have some places where we play indoors downriver. We have Allen Park Civic Center on Tuesday, Thursday, and we have Flat Rock Community Center Monday, Wednesday, Friday, all of those in the morning. But those folks who work in the evening, we're still trying to find places to play in the evening during the winter. In my opinion, and please understand I'm very biased, we have limited gym space downriver. Every gym seems to be used every night. And it's very difficult to do that. So my job, in my opinion, is to find places for people to play, because people who work Monday through Friday, it's very tough to find a place to play. So
I'm that guy.
So as we get better now, you're going to be looking for more and more competition. So if you become, top dog in the area that you're playing, you're going to start expanding your zone where you're going to travel in order to play. So downriver is a little bit behind the times where it comes to courts, indoors, outdoors. So the idea now is to expand where we play. There are a lot of places that have tournaments throughout the state. I believe that in the state of Michigan now, I read that there was 22 different tournaments throughout the state of Michigan scheduled for 2019. With that, you will be rated by an ambassador, which I am not yet, but you'll be rated so you know where your level of play is, and then you'll be put into that division so we can figure out where you belong in that. If you go to a USAPA, United States of America Pickleball Association sponsored event, they have events that are divided up by ages, and they're also divided up by your level of play. Just similar to tennis, where you're rated from a 1.0 to a 5.0, the same thing is for pickleball. And with that, we figure out where you are. You'll sign up for that tournament for your age bracket. You'll sign up for that tournament, which is going to be for your level of play. Because the idea is nobody wants to win every game. Nobody wants to lose every game. You want to get good competition. You want to make sure that you're getting better and you see more play. Every place seems to get its own personality on how they play. And so when you go to a different facility, you'll see what that place's personality is, which will change your game and help you get better.
So different areas of the country, we'll just say, different styles of play.
Yes.
Is what you're saying.
Yes. Not even different areas of the country. I'm talking different cities.
Okay.
Royal Oak is going to be a little different than the East Side, which is different than the Canton area. So they all take the personality of usually the lead person of that area, and then from there, that lead person tends to manipulate how play is done based upon how they do, and then showing the success that they have. People tend to emulate that person.
Gotcha. So now I'm ranked I'm a senior, so I'll be 60 this year. So I'm over 60, I'm playing, I'm ranked, I go to a tournament, and then I can compete.
Yes.
So the workout there, tournaments last a day, last a weekend,
most of them last 2.5 days. They start on a Friday evening and will go through a Sunday. And because there's so many levels, they have men's doubles, women's doubles.
Time between matches. A match will last a couple hours, an hour and a half?
No, a match will get done fairly quickly. So a game is going to last about 10 or 15 minutes. So a match will last 30 to 45.
Okay.
A little bit of rest in between. So the next tier will end up playing.
Do they double up ever? Like you've got the the 10:45 slot, then you've got the 11:30 slot. Does that happen
Well,
every now and
it's
then?
not really a slot because you're waiting for that. Once that game ends, the
Right.
next person comes on. So they give you a little bit of rest in between because they also know that during tournament play, it's very strenuous. So there's a little bit of time in between. So you may be playing, and then the next person in your same area of play may be playing. So it allows you to have a little bit of rest in between. But once you're in a match with your opponent, you're going to finish that match up and then move on to the next one. Or if you've won, obviously, then it ends as well.
So, who supplies? Who supplies? I mean, can I walk into Dunham's, or can I walk into Dick's Sporting Goods and pick up paddleball stuff?
You can pick up pickleball stuff.
Pickleball, I'm sorry.
That's okay. You can pick up pickleball stuff at both areas. They have lower level type things. The ball here these balls that you see here are from a company called Onyx. They have indoor and outdoor balls at Meyer, at Dunham's, at Dick's. They have lower level paddles. They have some wooden ones.
Average cost for the low end paddle.
Low end paddle that's not wooden is probably $39 to $49. This one right here is valued online at about $120. I've seen them as expensive as $180.
Science.
It is. And again, as is in golf, sometimes it may not be the club. Sometimes it might be the person who uses it.
The arrow. It's the Indian, not the arrow.
I didn't want to mention that, but yes.
I use that in bowling all the time. We coach, and even, my daughter's warming up for the junior golds, and, we're at practice, and, honey, sometimes it's, you ain't got it today. It's the Indian, not the arrow.
Right. Now, again, there are advantages to them. Don't get me wrong. The touch, there's more paddles that have more of an explosion, so it gives you a little bit more of a hit. It depends what you do, and as you learn what kind of player you are, that's when you start thinking about buying a more expensive paddle that'll help you either accentuate your positives or make up for your negatives.
Correct. You're going to start, if you're just taking it up, get the low end, go
Yes.
hit the ball around a little bit, see if you like it. Then you can always, I'm sure someone would have a high end paddle and say, try this, see how you like this, and then you try it, and you go get you one of those.
And most players that play will let you use their paddles because there's so many different options. When pickleball started, and maybe up to like 4 or 5 years ago, there were only 3 companies making paddles. Now it's over 25 or 26. So obviously the sport must be growing, because if there wasn't money involved in making these paddles, chances are these companies wouldn't exist doing that. So now tennis companies have actually got involved now, not necessarily changing what they do, but adding pickleball to their repertoire of products. Head, Prince, and some of those things that have been really involved with tennis are now getting in the pickleball industry as well.
The outfitters, what do we wear when we play pickleball? Is there a uniform? Is there a certain way to dress? Could I go in t-shirt and shorts?
Yes. It's not something that it requires, obviously the decency is probably the first thing we want to make sure you do, which I think should be self-explanatory. T-shirt, shorts. If you're outside, you may want to wear longer pants. You may want to wear a long sleeve shirt. If you like to play outside when it's really cold, put a sweatshirt on. Just understand the more clothes you put on, the more restricted you may feel, if not be restricted.
Are there companies that supply?
There are. There are so many more companies out there that supply this. Most of them are, again, tennis related. But if you look on any of the websites, you go online, you can find pickleball, I don't want to say accessories, but basically pickleball shirts that just have different logos. Just as you have your Wyandotte logo on right now, you can find logos for all of the pickleball type things and different companies. Some folks will allow sponsors once you get good enough. You can be sponsored by those folks, so this way when you go to tournaments, they'll send you free stuff so that you're advertising their equipment.
Correct. And so it doesn't necessarily, I don't have to go up to Pulaski Park and expect, I don't have to be that guy that's so competitive. Can it just be, is it a social event? Can we go and just enjoy ourselves and get our workout?
Absolutely. This game was designed to be more of a social type.
You're so close. I could talk to you while we're playing. Hey,
yes.
Do you hear what so-and-so did? Right?
And again, this may not be politically correct for TV. Sometimes gentlemen will give each other the needle a little bit. Maybe. And so this is something that can be done, between points and that kind of things. But it's also husbands and wives against other husbands and wives, guys, girls. Doesn't really matter. You're so close to those folks. Conversations happen a lot. Conversations happen as you're learning the game because of the idiosyncrasies of some of the rules, some of us experienced players will try to teach the rules and the odd things that happen during a pickleball match. You can have those discussions while that's going on, but it's social. You know, people bring, if there's not benches available around, you bring chairs so you can rest between games, or rest if somebody else is on the court and you're waiting for your game to show up, that type of thing.
So as we close up today, how would someone get a hold of you to find out how to get involved? Where do you get involved?
Well, right now, I went to the Wyandotte Recreation Commission meeting to first thank them for building the courts. But then after talking to Justin, who's your recreation director, and then from there going to the Recreation Commission, they were really excited. I had offered to run 3 different clinics for the city of Wyandotte to help promote the game. So Justin is actually purchasing some paddles and some balls for those people who want to learn. We're going to have 3 clinics, one in May 29th, June 5th, and June 12th, all on Wednesdays.
May 29th.
June 5th.
June 5th and June 12th. Just contact the Parks and Rec Department.
Yes.
And Justin will
help out. What we do ask, or what I'm asking, is that you contact him so we know how many people to have. So what we want to be able to do is have enough teachers there in order to do it. So they say for the best effect, you want 1 teacher for every 4 students.
Okay.
So if I show up by myself and there's 20 people, then I'm going to look like I can't teach 20 people. So we want to go through Justin so I can have enough people there to help get the program going and give people the positive experience that they deserve.
Well, I can thank you, Tom,
Thank you.
for showing up today and enlightening us about pickleball. We're off next week, Memorial Weekend. We will see you in 2 weeks. Ken should be back in 2 weeks unless he's having so much fun on his little vacation here that he doesn't want to come back home. You have to check the sports. Check the websites for the local sports updates. One thing, Joe Mayhew, he was Mr. Hockey here in Wyandotte. He has signed a contract with the Minnesota Wild, a 2-way contract. So the kid's moving up in the world. Let's wish him the best. Maybe we'll see him skating on the Little Caesars Arena rink soon. For Marty Janeski and my buddy Ken Montroy, this has been your local sports wrap-up. Thanks for watching, and hi, Mom.